you ready to boost your confidence when selling so you're able to close more deals? Nikki Roush will show you how to build a foundation of skills and a mindset that creates sales success without feeling pushy or salesy and without fear of rejection. She is a sales strategist and coach with more than 25 years of sales experience and is master certified in neuro-linguistic programming. This is a radically different approach to selling. It's a no sleaze, no slime, and no stress approach to building your business. This is Sales Maven. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm Nikki Roush, your own personal sales maven, here to offer you tips, techniques, and strategies to master your sales conversation. Today is a sales success story with one of our amazing Sales Maven Society members. Solita Roberts is here, and I can't wait for you guys to meet her and hear about her and her successes. Solita, welcome to the show, friend.
Hi, Nikki. Thank you very much for having me. I am nervous and excited at the same time.
Well, I'm so honored that you said yes. And I say, welcome to the show, friend. Well, I would say we're new friends because this is the first time I know you in the group, but it's the first time that we've actually had a conversation back and forth. So I'm so excited because you're such a great member of the group already and so engaged, but at the same time, just to have like face to face, over Zoom. I know you guys can't see her. She's absolutely gorgeous. And so like the energy is so good. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for all, the nice words that you just said. I feel as though I've known you for a while through because, with our mutual friend, Carol Cox. So I've had an opportunity to see some of the presentations that you have done for her as well. So I kind of feel like I've known you for a while. I've listened to the podcast as well. But it's great to connect with you one-on-one in this forum, in this space. So it's awesome.
Oh, I love that. And I love that Carol brought us together. I'm such a huge fan of hers. And Carol Cox, if you don't listen to her podcast, Speaking Your Brand, I highly recommend it.
Highly recommend it as well.
She is brilliant. And actually she came on the show and I did one of the Mastering Excellence series with Carol. So she's been on the podcast. If you haven't listened, please do, because she's amazing. But let's talk about you and your business. Tell us a little bit about you and your business, what you do, who you serve.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to share my story, Nikki. I appreciate that. Before I share where I'm at now, I think I want to share a little bit as to how I got here. And one of the things so for 15 years, I was in banking and finance. I did the daily routine, everyday tasks, and, just going about my day. And then I just kind of like fell out of love with it, right? And doing the same thing over and over. And having spent in a long distance relationship, my husband, now we decided that, okay, somebody needs to move, right? Somebody needs to move. And at the end of the day, it turned out that, the decision was that I was the one that was going to move.
Where did you move from?
I moved from Antigua to Atlanta, and that transition, I must say, was a difficult one. During that period of moving, it was just about 3 years ago, I found that I kind of lost my identity, as I said it was, because here's it, I'm moving into a new country. I have no network, I have no friends, could not figure out what I wanted to do. So I was applying to every and anything that came across my computer, right? And during that period, it's like, okay, every no that I got, I lost a part of me. Every no that I got, my confidence went down. Every no that I got, my self-esteem, my self-worth just went. And in the summer of last year, we're in 2021, in 2020, I decided that I'm going to create my own yes. With all the no's that I was getting, I decided that I'm going to create my own yes. If I cry, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'll tell you, I just I swear the hairs on my arms are standing up and I got a chill through my body. I don't know if you as a listener, when she said, I'm going to create my own yes. My heart is pounding. I love that. Tell us more.
Yes. Making that decision to create my own yes gave me so much hope. And that, yes, was making this decision to start Style to Impact, which is an image coaching, personal styling business where I work with growth-focused women entrepreneurs and founders to help them look the part, choosing authentic outfits, making sure that when you show up in any space that you're going to, you're showing up authentically as you, wearing things that you love, wearing and feeling confident in yourself. Because I know during that period how I felt. I wasn't confident. And I had to make that decision every single day. Oh, I'm going to cry. To just know what my purpose was, know what my mission was.
Yes.
And get dressed for it.
Oh, so powerful. I'm so thankful that you said yes to coming onto the show, because the way you frame things is so amazing, so beautiful. Thank you. I love that you're saying like showing up for yourself and showing up for your success. And whew.
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but not sorry to the listeners for my emotions. But this one is so deep, and it means so much to share and know that I can make a difference to someone's life through the things that they wear.
Yes, I am so on board with this. I just sharing a little bit here. Like I hired a stylist a few years ago, and it has completely transformed so many things for me. And it's interesting because the stylist that I work with and you, and now meeting you and getting this like time with you, it's always so interesting to me that it can feel like, oh, it's just about clothes, or it's just about, but it's always so much deeper.
Yes.
And this mission, like you hear it in you, this mission that you have, and this idea of confidence building. And I will say that it makes it so much different to show up authentically in the right thing that you feel comfortable and confident in, that colors that, help accentuate the things that you want to. And, I mean, my stylist had to teach me absolutely everything, like how to apply makeup, what kind of hairstyle works the best for me.
Yeah.
Like all these things. And it makes such a difference. Whereas now I feel like a different version of, like a much better, confident version of myself. So I love that you're doing this for women. Oh yeah. Style with impact. Is that?
It's Style to Impact. And I also kind of like coined it in terms of, because I mean, if you Google, you'll find like, and you go on social media, there are I don't want to say millions, but hundreds of personal stylists, right?
Yes,
and they will tell you, what to wear, how to put together an outfit. But when I started Style to Impact, because of what I would have gone through and what I wanted to have, the work that I do, how to impact the lives of the women that I work with, I needed it to be more than just, hey, wear this or wear that. And that's the comment that I get from my clients when I work with them. Oh, I thought that you were just going to tell me to wear this and wear that, but this is so much deeper. And I'm like, yes, because what it is for me, it's about what I call it women empowerment through style. Yeah. Feeling empowered through the things that you wear so that you can show up, whether or not it's for your job, whether or not it's for your business, whether or not it's for, whatever you want to show up for, but feeling empowered doing that because you not only feel great inside, but you also feel great on how you look on the outside. So thanks for the opportunity for sharing that.
Oh, okay. So tell me, how do clients typically work with you? When clients hire you, what's this like? What are the kind of ways that you're working with clients at this point?
Thank you for asking that. I'm going to try and practice some of my Sales Maven lingo here. So generally, to work with me, there are two options that I work with my clients. We do private one-on-one or group coaching. Okay. So the private one-on-one, I have what I call the styling you. because we all have a style that's within us that we haven't allowed ourselves to explore because of, we've been told in the past what to wear and how to show up by everyone else in our lives. And that's the one that we adopt, but we're shying away from the style that we have within ourselves, the one that we're keeping a secret and we're keeping down. So when I work with my clients through that one-on-one process is to bring out that style in you. What is that style persona that you always wanted to show up looking like that person, right? So that's one way that I work with my clients. The other way is that what I do is powering up your wardrobe, because there's one thing to discover your style. You're looking good, you're feeling good, but how can we help you? How can I help you move your business forward, your career forward based on the things that you're wearing? So this is where the power of your wardrobe comes in, looking at your personal brand, looking at the colors that you wear for your brand, looking at what are some of the things or pieces that you can wear to say, this is who I am in my business, in my career, and move yourself forward.
Lovely. Lovely. Okay. So, and then tell us a little bit about the group coaching program.
So the group coaching program, what I do is I try to bring 6 to 10 women in a group forum in terms of working on what are some of the challenges that you're having. So it's a bit of the style in you and powering up your style that we do within those sessions.
Okay.
So because there's some women who want to work on figuring out what that style is, but they also want to ensure that at the end of that program, they're showing up in their businesses and they're showing up in their careers already dressed for those occasions, already looking the part. So that's what that program is. We go through that, and it's generally a 30-day program that we go through and work through the programs in terms of what your style is and then how you want to show up in your personal brand.
I feel like I've heard a saying before where they say like, dress for the job that you want, not for the job you have. And I feel like as entrepreneurs, and I've given this advice to very specific clients sometimes where they talk about like, I'm not attracting my ideal clients. And so we dig in a little bit. And I feel like in business, you could say the same thing, like dress for the client you want. Dress for your ideal client, because, and I feel this way in life, right? And in relationships and, friendships and all of that, is that you do need to make some adjustments, add some flexibility to your behavior, is so that you put yourself in a position that somebody that you most want to spend time around, work with, be in relationship with, be friends with, whatever that is, that you need to be attractive to them too, right? Yes. And I don't just mean physical appearance, but you need to put yourself in a position that they go, well, that's my person. Of course, that's my person. That's who I want to work with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, I tend to think that's one of like the number one investments most entrepreneurs kind of like forget. So we're told when we're building a business that you focus on your website, that you focus on your logo, that you focus on your products and your services. But at the end of the day, you're trying to build that like no trust factor with an audience that doesn't know you, right? Especially on the online space. So when they go online and they scrolling through social media, what is it about your image that's going to make them stop, right? And this is why it's important now to invest in your image to attract the audience that you want, to attract the clients that you want, to attract the opportunities that you want. Because if you're saying to yourself, I want to work with Fortune 500 companies, but when they're looking for someone within your expertise and they're scrolling, because half of the time we don't know the persons that we're connecting with, and they're scrolling like, oh, I'm looking for an expert that works in HR, that like an HR expert, and they're scrolling, but then you don't look the part, right? You don't look the part. That means you missed that opportunity because they're going to keep scrolling for someone who looks the part, because that's the first thing. We have that couple of seconds to convince that person when it comes to that first impression, I am the person that you should get in contact with. And from there, obviously, you then have to sell your expertise and show that I'm not just a pretty face or a well-dressed person, but I have both skill sets to match. So that is very crucial when it comes to not only your career or your business, that you're matching your image to the persons and the opportunities that you're looking to get.
Yeah, I think credibility is so key.
Yeah.
Now, I know you probably know this because you're in the Sales Maven Society, but I have a whole module on the power of the first impression.
Yes.
And it isn't just, about appearance, but there is this piece where, we talk about judgments that people make and how quickly they're making judgments. And it's interesting because the last couple of years of doing corporate training, like I almost don't want to teach that piece in corporate anymore because I'm finding that audiences now are a little bit turned off by this idea of like, because I actually do this exercise where I ask them to make some judgments. I put some images up on the screen and I ask them questions about the people who I'm showing. And it's interesting that interesting to me, but I get people give me pushback and they're like, oh, Nikki, I don't judge. I'm not going to answer that question. And and part of me goes, okay, that seems like the politically correct thing to say, right?
Yep.
And yet, over and over and over again, it's human nature that people judge. And if you truly can stand in your place of authenticity and say, I don't make judgments about people. I'm not here to change your mind about what you make judgments about. Here's what I will say, without a doubt, 100%, is other people are making judgments about you. And are you setting yourself up to make the most powerful first impression, a credible first impression? Because whether you don't judge, others do. Period.
Absolutely. Like I get that as well, right? And it's, I talk about appearance and making sure that you're showing up in the right way. And I do get that pushback where, I'm getting, we shouldn't judge each other based on the way we look. I get it. And then they're like, what you said, maybe you don't judge, that's who you are as a person, that you don't judge, but others are judging you.
Yes.
And I even kind of like bring it down to the smallest detail in that when you go to the supermarket to purchase, let's say you're looking for oranges. Mm-hmm. Do you go to the stand with the orange, pick the first 5 oranges that you need, put it in a bag and walk away? No, at least I don't. I go to the stand, I look at the oranges, I'm going to examine, I'm going to touch it, I'm going to feel it to see which of the, 50 oranges that's in front of me that I actually want, that speaks to me, that I'm judging it. I'm deciding for myself whether or not this orange is going to be sweet, this orange is going to, checking the texture and everything, because that's who we are as individuals. That's who we are as human beings. We judge and analyze everything. Now, judging something and giving a negative, like being on that negative side, like, oh my gosh, you look, fill in the blank of whatever word that you want on a negative side, that's different. Yes. But looking at something to say, does this person, looking at someone to say, does this person have the capabilities and exude the things that I am looking for to have as a partner, to have as a client, to have, to hire, to help me with this? Do they have that? And that is what your image does. That's what you wear is able to do with that first impression. It's not judging like, oh my gosh, you wearing that $5 shirt looking all like, no, that's, if you're doing that, that is wrong. That is,
yes,
I don't condone that at all.
No.
But looking at someone to decide just the way you would if you're buying a car, if you're making decisions based on some qualities that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing when it comes to your image. People are judging you on that, and you are doing it as well, even though you may not realize, because they're little things that you decide or you use, factors that you use to decide whether or not you're going to do business with someone.
Yes.
In a sense, it's judgment.
Yes, it is judgment. I love the analogy that you gave of the oranges. I've never heard it positioned that way. And that is such a smart analogy. It's such a smart story to plant in somebody's mind, because if you pick fruit at a stand, you're always going to pick like, what is the fruit that's the most attractive to me? Right. So whether you like a firm orange or a really squishy one or whatever, but does it look attractive to you? And that's the one you're going to pick. That's going to get that opportunity to be like, I got picked. I love that story. Thank you. I'm so like, I'm like thinking of a million ways for you to use this story now.
Yeah, because I think it's relatable and it's easy for us to realize that we do make judgments on in every aspect of our life. There's some form of judgment that we're passing. Like,
it's so smart. By the way, not that you would know this, but I teach this in a masterclass called The Language of Sales. And I teach a technique that's known as chunking sideways. And it's a very NLP technique. But what you just did gave what I teach is this, it's called a chunk sideways. And it gives people's brains something to associate to that isn't very specific to your exact thing, but helps their brain go, I get it. I get it. And it's so clever the way you just did it. I love it so much.
Oh, thank you. Okay. That's the goal. That's the goal for them, to, for my audience and for women to start thinking like, oh, okay, yeah, there's another way. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's dig in a little bit to some successes, because I feel like you have already done such a great job. You're very engaged in the group as a new member to the Sales Maven Society. You've been such a good contributor, and you've been able to share some of your successes. And that's why I was so excited to bring you on the show and talk about some of the things that you have implemented. Because as a listener, you may have heard me say, implementers get results. This is my like tag. It's like in my head all the time. Implementers get results. You've been such a great implementer. Tell us maybe just a couple, but things, and even just one thing that you have already implemented and you've seen results. What's been some of the big ones for you?
Oh, there's one of the biggest change for me. I'm going to say this for the listeners. If you're thinking about joining, first of all, Nikki didn't ask me to say this, but I'm going to say this. If you're thinking about joining the Sales Maven, like you're trying to figure out, how do I close the sale? What is the language? This is the group. Because I can tell you, I'm trying to think of how long have I been in the group? Maybe
I'm going to say 2 months. 3 months? 2 months?
I don't think not even that long. No, it's probably, it's like a month. We're probably going on a month. And the changes that I've seen within myself in terms of my confidence to a few things. One, setting my price, saying it out loud, staying committed to that price. Before I joined Sales Maven, I can tell you, I had like prices depending on how the person reacted to when I said my price. Or if I thought about pricing my service, there's this negotiation that I'm having with myself. Okay, are they going to pay this? Is this too high? Is this too low? And I'm constantly going on that hamster wheel, like, oh, this may be too high, and not looking at the value of the service and pricing myself based on the value of the service, and not 2 or 3 persons who may not be able to afford it at that time. And one of the things that being in a Sales Maven, as you said, say your price out loud. And if it doesn't feel any way in you, that's the price to go to. If you feel, you're second guessing it, you may need to go higher. Because one of the things that I mentioned in the group is that I set my price to a program that I was beta testing this program. And because I was beta testing, I was like, and this is before I joined the Sales Maven. I was like, okay, let me just set it at $250, because if I do a group of 6 women, $250, and I was going to do it for 3.5 hours, and then an additional week of support. I was like, $250 per woman. They come in and we do this. That's okay, because I was looking at the person paying me, right? Not the work as well that I'm going to put into it, and the benefits to them. I was looking at, let me make it reasonable for women to enter.
Yes.
I created the sales page, put it up, contacted a few persons that I thought would be interested in it. One person signed up. And when she signed up for it, I immediately felt this, oh, I think I priced myself too low.
Yes.
Feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I made mention of it in the Facebook group that I think I priced myself too low. It wasn't that, oh, I got a success, so I should grab more money. It was not about that. But I was already second guessing the price point.
Yeah.
And, I was pitching it as this low price that you can come in and you can get all of this, work on your image and get all of this work done, until the reality of someone saying, yes, I want this. Yes, I can see the benefit. I'm like, And I remember your comment where you said that feeling that you're getting in your stomach, that you felt as though you cheated yourself, that's a reason for you to increase your price.
Amen. Yes, I said that. And yes, I'm going to amen myself in this way, because most of you, and you specifically, Solita, and those of you who are listening, when you sell something and you feel that pit in your stomach of like, oh, I'm going to deliver this for this amount, you have priced too low. And you're not doing yourself a service. You're not helping your business grow. And frankly, you're probably not doing as good of a service to the client as you would do if it felt really good when they sign up and you're like, yes, huge value. I'm going to deliver. And I feel really good about it.
Yeah. And that was the thing. I got the confirmation to sign up, and I didn't feel great about myself. Yeah. I didn't feel as though I'm going to add value to the client regardless, but what is the value to me? And I was like, no. And in that moment, I literally went back to, that episode that spoke about pricing and making sure that you're pricing your worth and being able to say your price and feel confident and comfortable saying it. I went back to that episode because I'm one of those persons, when I got into the Sales Maven, and I had to listen to everything. That's the way I learned. I listen to everything. Mm-hmm. And then I go, okay, what am I working on today? This week I'm working on pricing. And then I'll go listen to that episode, make my notes. And then what are some of the things that I need to implement? And so I went back to that and I was like, yes, let's look at what I'm offering and look at what I'm pricing it at right now. Is this a fair trade, so to speak? Is this equal value on both sides? And I looked at it, I was like, no. So I had, which coincidentally happened, like the week later, I, went on a consultation with the client, and we were going through the process and got to the point of saying my price, like, what is the cost of the service? And I said it. I don't know if the client noticed. I was trying so much to hold it in because I almost wanted to smile, not because, I'm telling the client, but I felt proud to know that I was able to quote my price. I did not feel nauseous. I did not feel as though, I'm nervous. It came out. And I've had so many opportunities since then to say what my price is. And it felt good. I'm like, why didn't I do this before? Like, why? Why didn't I do this? But, I did this before. But the thing is, what I've discovered is, if you don't know the language of sales, if you don't know it, you will always lack that confidence to show up for yourself. So when you said that you notice that I'm implementing, and it's like, I knew what I lacked. I knew what I didn't know. And sales was one of those things that I did not know. Yes, my background is in finance. I know numbers, but I didn't know the language of selling, the language of fixing your price, the language of making sure that when you reach out to a client or you reach out to someone, whether or not it's the pitch for, getting on my LinkedIn Live or getting on, going on their podcast or trying to collaborate with them, what is that language? Like, what is that language? I was doing a lot of, I would like you to come on my podcast. I would like you to do this. I would like you to do that. And then going through reframing. It's like, would you, Nikki, is this a good fit? What do you think? It's like bringing it back, and it makes such a difference being able to learn the language of sales. And I love the way that you teach it. I don't think you see sales experts popping up the way they will, and you see it, yes. But everybody has their own unique way of doing it, and that's fine. But what I like about the way that you teach is reminding us to come from that place of service. How can I serve you, even though I'm trying to get you to be my client, even though I'm trying to get you to work with me? How can I serve you? And I think that for me has been the most important and impactful aspect of it. That every time I'm writing an email or I'm reaching out to someone, I'm reminding myself, how can I serve this client? Make sure the sentence is about serving the client or serving this person. What I'm, asking their permission to do that. Mm-hmm. What permission do I need from you to do that? And I think that was mind blowing for me. And it's like, yeah, I could not have done what I'm doing right now in terms of feeling this level of confidence in myself. As I said, it's been a journey. It's been an experience. And to now have this in my toolkit, knowing how to sell without being salesy, without begging the person, without feeling as though I am not asking my worth, It's been an incredible feeling.
Well, nothing is more satisfying, I will say, to me, as having you in there and having you share this idea of the fact that you now can really stand in your place of credibility when you speak about your pricing, and that you confidently say it. Confidence is a big piece. I think we have that in common, right? The work that you do and the work that I do is all about when you can confidently stand in your place of credibility and authority and speak about the work that you do, then things get easier, right? You are valued at a different level yourself, but also with your clients and prospective clients. And then this idea of learning how to just change up your language. I was doing a coaching call with a client earlier today, and we were talking about this idea of language. And I was saying, it's the thing about sales and learning this language of sales. It's the difference between helping, positioning. It's all about positioning language in a way that either is in what we were talking about. It's like, well, if you say it this way, people are going to feel like you're judging them. Back to judgment, by the way. People are going to feel like they're being judged by you if we frame it this way. But if we change the language and we frame it this way, this is going to allow people to either identify and go, yes, you're the person that I want to work with, or this isn't for me, without them feeling judged by you. They're going to make their own assessment. And that's really I think the heart of what I teach, and also what you have been able to implement, that it's no longer about you making judgments or you telling people what they should do, need to do, or what you want them to do. Yep. Now it's about, is this the right opportunity for them? And the way that you've changed it. Oh, I love it.
Absolutely.
So much.
No, it's been amazing. Like, I've even, just to share another story, like a success that I had, I didn't post this in the group because I wanted to apply everything that I've learned and see if, without Nikki's input, whether or not, this line should change or not, if I'm doing it, do I have what it takes now? And a client she booked a service with me, but I was going to have a change in that particular service.
Okay.
Generally, I can tell you before, I probably would have written a subject line or it would have started with, sorry, unfortunately, I'm not able to, that would have been my language.
Yeah.
So implementing everything that I've learned, starting with the subject line, I kind of phrased it. would you consider this? That was my subject line, right? Would you consider this? And within the body now, I kind of like told her, like, oh, great connecting with you. How are you doing? Like, the greeting part of it.
Yep.
But what I did, instead of writing my email saying, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to, or this service has changed. I'm like, of these two options, which one best speaks to your need right now? So that reframing, changing it from, okay, I had to change in the service and this is what happened, I put it back and giving her some options. Which one of these two services best speaks to you right now?
Perfect.
And based on your decision, could we set up a call to discuss the details? Like me writing that and getting the feedback from the client going, oh my gosh, this is so great. This is the option that I choose. I'm like, oh, wow. So much progress. Just doing that, just communicating, being able to communicate a change in service and structure. I would not have written that email that way. I would not have written that email had not gone through that training of giving the options to the client, allowing the client to make the decision instead of me saying, okay, this is what's going to happen now, or this is what we're going to do now. It's like so many gems, so many little things that I took for granted that I didn't think of or didn't realize that the impact that it would have on my business or my confidence. Like even sending a LinkedIn connection now, I'm even focusing on that, like the language that I'm using. And when someone connects with me, like the language that I'm using to connect with them, to create that curiosity. Like before someone sends me a connection request, I was like, oh, thank you for connecting. And that would have been it, right? Mm-hmm. Looking forward to getting to know you. Mm-hmm. But through the work, like going through the Sales Maven and creating the curiosities and planting the seeds, it's like, hey, thanks for connecting. What's something exciting that's happening with you right now? Or someone asked me how I'm doing. Generally, I would have replied, I'm doing great. But now it's, I was on Nikki's podcast talking about, language of sales and talking about the way I'm working with my clients and helping them with it. So it's more of that I'm doing now instead of just the generic, I'm doing great. Thanks for connecting. It's like getting those conversations going beyond the generic responses. And I cannot tell you, it's been incredible. It's been incredible.
Well, I love it. I love all the stories you've shared. So when we were talking about a sales success story, a lot of times it's like, oh, I implemented this piece. But if you go back and listen, Solita, you've given the listeners so many things that you've implemented. And you've been able to, like you talked about, you're already changing the way you create curiosity and plant seeds, and you're changing the way you write your emails, and you're, changing the way you talk about your pricing. And then when you go, I think I've only been in the group for a month, and I'm like, wow, look what you've done. Look at you. You're amazing. And we really are I feel personally so blessed to have you in the group, and that you're taking these little, I always say, like, it's like I give a little grain of sand and or a little grain, not of sand, a little grain of rice, and you go and plant rice fields. And this is what you're doing with your business. And I'm just I'm so thrilled to be able to offer the little grain of rice. And it's so exciting to see the rice fields that you continue to plant over and over and over again, and the things that you've shared in the group. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Oh, it's so exciting. Now,
thank you for having me.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So as we wrap up today, I always like to end with two questions. The first one being, but I feel like this question might be redundant, but if you have something else to add in just the last couple minutes here, is what's one benefit that you've received from being part of the Sales Maven Society?
Interesting question. This is hopefully I answer your question with this response that I'm going to give, because I'm going to be very honest here.
Okay.
When I thought about the Sales Maven and I did the calculations. I was doing it for 12 months. Like if I joined the Sales Maven, how much is it going to cost me for 12 months? And then I looked at my account. I'm like, I don't think I can afford 12 months. And I honestly looked at the page, did the calculations, like, okay, yeah, I won't be able to join now. I'm going to need to, get 2 more clients to be able to do this. And I walked away. But I came back and that browser was there and it was saying to me, you're just there. And it's like, okay, I looked at it and it's like, wait a minute, Solita, why are you trying to calculate this membership on a 12-month basis when you're talking about learning the language of sales so that you can not only raise your price, have the confidence, but be able to have paying clients coming in? What should your strategy be? I literally sat down and like, no, don't look at it at 12. What can we do in a quarter? Like, what can we afford 3 months now? And within that 3 months, what is the work that I need to get done? And this, when you're saying to me that, oh, I'm an implementer, is because I have a strategy. It's because I came in with a purpose. I'm like, I cannot pay for a service and not utilize it.
Yes.
So the thing that I would leave with the audience is this. When you're thinking about investing in yourself, it's easy for us to get carried away by looking at the whole picture. Like, oh my gosh, I have to find $3,000 to do this service for a year. When the only thing that you need to do maybe is to find the payment for that month, for 2 months or 3 months, and then implement every single thing that you would have learned within that period so that you can extend your membership. So you get that income to then extend your membership. And that's been something that I've gotten. I've made my 3-month investment back. So now I can put that into the, 3 months of membership again. So I can put that back into growing and learning. So that, for me, is something that I really want to leave with the audience, because a lot of times when we're thinking about investing in ourselves, we're doing the numbers value and not looking at what is the return. And once I implement it, what are the benefits to me?
Yeah, that's such a great way to look at it. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. Okay, so last, how can people get a hold of you? Because I feel like there's going to be some listeners that are like, I am ready to show up with impact in my business, and I'm ready to take this next step.
Yes, thank you very much for that, Nikki. So listeners can, I spend most of my time on LinkedIn. That is my wheelhouse. That is where you can find me at Solita C. Roberts. When you do in the search bar, that's how you find me. You can find me on my website, which is styletoimpact.com. And if you're thinking of, I need to work on my style now, or I need to have a conversation on it, you can also email me at solita@styletoimpact.com.
Now, of course, all of her contact information is going to be in the show notes. So go check her out, connect with her, come join the Sales Maven Society, because you'll get to really connect with her in there too. And she is in there. She's hanging out. She's contributing. It's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Okay. So as we wrap up today, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that 2021 for me is the year of the question. So I have a question for you to add to your toolkit. Here is the question for this week: is ask people, do you have your calendar available? Because that's how you get an appointment. That's how you schedule a time. Now, this question could be answered as a yes or no question, but it rarely is, because when you say to somebody, do you have your calendar available? They pull up their calendar and then you schedule your next time to meet, or you schedule a discovery call. So if you're not asking this question, this one I'm going to say is a little gold nugget for you. I hope that you use it and implement it. Okay. We're ready to wrap the show. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. If we haven't connected yet on social media, I tend to hang out on Instagram. You'll find me under Sales Maven, and on LinkedIn, you'll find me under Nikki Roush and or the Sales Maven business page. I would love to connect with you. It is super thrilling to hear as a listener, what are your takeaways from these shows? What have you implemented as a result? It thrills me. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Solita. I just adore you already. I feel like I just fell more in love with you today and what you shared. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.